Remember last summer when I asked a bunch of people what the greatest rock song of all time was, and multiple people said Lips of an Angel by Hinder?
It's really good to hear your voice saying my name.
Well, I had to get to the bottom of what makes this divorced dad rock anthem about infidelity such a hit.
Most people that I know have been on both sides of that scenario. And I honestly think that's probably one of the reasons why the song was as big as it was. People could actually relate to it.
Drummer and co-founding member of the band Cody Hanson is on the show this week, and we talk about embracing the term butt rock, their upcoming new album, and the time he almost got in a fight with Chad from Nickelback.
So the next day he comes in the dressing room and, he's kind of like, wow, the train really came off the tracks last night, huh? And he's got a handful of Viagra, so he's just passing out Viagra as like this peace offering.
Well, dude, Cody, congrats on the new single, Everything is a Cult. When this episode drops, we'll be in the future, and the song will have already been out, so we can talk freely about it. I heard an advanced listen of it, because I'm super cool and special, obviously. And, dude, it starts off as like a slap porno bass line. Fucking love it. I was like, ooh, what do we get into here? All right.
Oh, yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, this track's a little bit different for us. We kind of played around with some just different production elements and ideas, and I don't know, man. I think it turned out pretty interesting. It's definitely different, from a normal Hinder track.
Oh yeah, dude! Like right off the bat, I was like, "Wait, did Nate send me the right track? Like this doesn't sound like you fuck up here. Like this is good. This is like a definitely a different kind of change of pace for the new direction of the band. Is that kind of like indicative of what we can expect on the new album? Are you gonna be doing a lot of curveballs like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the new album is like a current version of Hinder, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of a roller coaster, really. I mean, there's something for everyone, something for everybody on the album, I think. So there are songs that are like super heavy. There are songs, or at least super heavy for us. I don't know about for other bands, but
you're not going like Slaughter to Prevail heavy or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So heavy for us, but then there are songs that are kind of country. There's songs that are kind of pop leaning. It's kind of all over the place.
Very cool. So yeah. What is the meaning behind Everything as a Cult? Like literally everything is a cult. Every organized
doesn't it kind of feel that way? I mean, yeah. Honestly, with social media, it seems like everybody tends to just run to their corners for everything and seek out confirmation bias. And, nobody wants to really seek out the truth anymore about anything. So, I mean, really, It kind of feels like everything is a cult now.
I feel you. Yeah, it does feel like, especially on social media, like people don't really act the way they really feel. They do kind of like, even when it comes down to like music genres, we were just talking about how like, there's something a little bit for everyone on this album. And I feel like that's how most listeners enjoy listening to music. They like to listen to a little rock, a little pop, maybe a little hip hop, whatever. But then you go online and you want to see that from the comment section because people bitch and complain like, this isn't real metalcore. Real metalcore only consists of these elements. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, yeah, people really dig their heels in on social media.
Yeah. Keyboard warriors are funny like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think people are scared to show their real identities these days. To like just be who they are. Everybody's trying to be cool, or I don't know, trying to be something that they're really not. It's interesting.
Yeah, they definitely do kind of find their little groups online. They think that's their identity, and that's what they kind of like, champion and get behind. And then it's like, yeah, they don't really want to go away from that status that's been set up online. They don't want to divert from that idea.
Yep, absolutely. So I mean, that's the idea behind the song.
Nice. All right. Well, we're digging into it. I like it. It's good stuff. So you just got doing some dates with Creed and Three Doors Down, right? How was that?
Yeah, we did one show with them. It was the Creed Festival. So it was like all the bands that have been on the Creed lineup all in one day. And it was wild, man. It was awesome. It was a good time. Unfortunately for us, Marshall been having some vocal trouble during the show, but the crowd was very receptive and kind of helped us out where they needed to. And it made for a really good time, and then they came through Oklahoma City the other day and we got to go out just as spectators and watch watch the show. And that was kind of cool. We shared the same management as Creed. So they kind of rolled out the red carpet for us, and we had our own little dressing room backstage, and had had booze and all the good stuff. So we had a really great time. It was really cool to see the show with no pressure.
Oh yeah, you get to actually just enjoy it. You don't have to worry about performing or being stage ready or whatever. Just get to go enjoy it and get all the benefits of the access.
Oh yeah, it was awesome, man. I was up there screaming like a fangirl. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, generally when I go to shows, I have to do some sort of work. And I use that term very loosely, in quotations. Like I usually have to do like an interview or some kind of review or something like that. So it's like I kind of have to not drink too much, not be too off my rock, but it's cool when I get to go to a show and actually just enjoy it and watch the music and have a good time.
Oh yeah. We get to do. We're going to be doing the Creed cruise coming up next year, so
very cool.
That'll be interesting. We'll see if we can keep our shit together long enough to get through that without getting too hammered.
Have you been on a cruise before?
Yeah, we did Shiprocked several years ago. We had a really good time, but again, for us, we're kind of like that party band. That's kind of what we've always done. That's all we know. So, for us to keep it together and not get hammered throughout the day is pretty difficult.
That's always a challenge.
We did it. We got through it.
Dude, cruises, there's been so many of these good cruise festivals being announced that I want to check them out. I want to do it, but I don't know, dude. I'm not a strong swimmer. And I just feel like being on a big body of water is a little scary, the ocean is meant to be feared. You can rock, but it's meant to be, I have a healthy fear of open bodies of water, I feel like.
Dude, me too. Kind of after that first cruise, I remember we smoked a joint and sat out. We had a balcony room and we sat out and just watched the ocean. I mean, you're out in the middle of it, right? And you can just see the waves going up and down, and I don't know, you realize, man, this thing is so much bigger and so much stronger than all of us. It could just wipe us out, just like that.
Yeah, man. Don't they say there's only a percentage that hasn't been discovered? There's parts that people haven't even seen. What is down there, man? I
want to know.
Keeps going, dude. Where's the bottom? Well, speaking of Creed, you guys are Hinder is definitely on the receiving end of the whole butt rock revival, the divorced dad renaissance. I love to see it, man. I've always used the term butt rock lovingly. I think it's a great term. I know a lot of bands sometimes get bent out of shape about it. I know that you guys embrace the whole, resurgence. You have the whole t-shirt line, divorced dad rock.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I've never really understood the whole butt rock thing, why people get so upset about it. Especially once you figure out where it came from, right? It just came from a radio station one day. If I understand correctly, the whole thing was, nothing but rock, and then it just turned into butt rock. It's really nothing to be ashamed of or upset about. I don't know. I don't get it.
Here on Sirius XM, we play rock, nothing but rock.
There you
go.
My
DJ voice.
Love it.
Yeah, dude. I know it's not like they're calling you little dick rock or something. It's nothing super offensive. I don't know why they get so mad.
And again, if they did, we would just have to concede the truth, unfortunately.
Well, through this renaissance, man, I found out, I did not know this, but it turns out Lips of an Angel by Hinder is the greatest rock song of all time to ever exist, because I was doing interviews at Incarceration Festival asking multiple people, what is the greatest rock song of all time? And two separate people, right after another, one after another, said Lips of an Angel by Hinder. And I thought they didn't know each other. They had never met before. These interviews were hours apart or whatever. So, and it's a great song. I'm not taking anything away from it, but we're comparing to the Beatles, Metallica,
I was going to say, dude,
all the songs in the world.
I saw that, and it did look like you were disagreeing. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree that it's not the greatest song in the world. I was just surprised that two individuals in a row, and that was the only song that I got. That was the only song option that was voted twice that entire weekend. So
maybe you learned a valuable lesson right there.
I did. I didn't know, and now I know, man. Now I'm well aware. So I had that answer ready. Anytime anyone asks me what the greatest rock song is, well, I can't even debate it. It's unequivocally been proven, but science and statistics. It's Lips of an Angel by Hinder. Dude, I'm sure you guys ask this all the time, but what was it like when that song dropped, when that album dropped 20 years ago? I mean, that had to be just a game changer, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it was life changing. You know what I mean? You just kind of, I don't know, you can just kind of feel it when a song like that happens. It's different from releasing any other song. You know what I mean? It just kind of,
Mhm.
I don't know, it just put us in an entire different place in our career. I mean, that song literally, paid for the house that I'm sitting in. So, I mean,
That's amazing.
we're super, super lucky and super grateful for that.
Because Get Stoned was the first single, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And so you guys, I assume you started seeing a little bit of pop from that one. And then when Lips of an Angel came out, was it just like a fucking rocket ship attached to you guys at that point?
Yeah, I mean, Get Stoned was like number 2 at rock
Hmm.
radio at the time, and then when when Lips came out, it was like that it went number 2 at rock, it went number 1 at top 40. Before we knew it, somebody was covering it at country, and it was on the country charts, and it was just, I don't know, man, it was just like this whole big thing. And then we were out, it wasn't too long after that we were out headlining like arenas and amphitheaters, and we had like bands that we looked up to, that we grew up or listening to, bands like, Buck Cherry and Papa Roach opening for us, which looking back,
Crazy.
we had no business being in that role playing after Papa Roach. Let's be honest. They're amazing live. But, we went out, we did it. We had a great time, and we learned a lot.
That's very cool. Yeah, I remember. Actually, I was talking to my wife this morning, and whenever I'm interviewing a band, I always like to say to her, like, "Hey, I'm interviewing this band. If you have any questions, anything you ever want to know," and she's always like, "Yeah, I don't know if I think of something." But today, I was like, "I'm talking to Hinder today. If you have any questions," she's like, "Yeah, I got a question. First of all, how dare you? She was in the next room and she sounded lovely. Like, how could you do that?"
I mean, nobody actually cheated in the song. It was a consideration.
Mhm.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's a story. You're telling a story.
Yeah, it's fine. It wasn't all real.
Yeah, that was a lot of the comments too on that video I posted. It was like, the best song in the world is an infidelity anthem. That says a lot about these people.
I mean,
Give
let's
him
be
shit.
honest. I mean, that's most people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Most
right.
people that I know have been through, a scenario similar to that. And I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of females that I know have been on both sides of that scenario. And I honestly think that's probably one of the reasons why the song was as big as it was. People could actually relate to it.
It's something people can relate to, and it's probably something like uncomfortable that they don't really want to admit. I bet a lot of more people relate to it than they want to admit to as well. There's
I
like
mean, it was a huge wedding song too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And a lot of the stories that we've heard are, that was their situation. Maybe they had broken up, they'd moved on, they were both in other relationships, and that's how they got back together. I mean, we've heard that story, hundreds of times. So it's
yeah.
interesting.
So that song brings people together. It doesn't break up relationships. It
That's
brings
right.
love together.
That's right. And
I
that's
think you.
why it's the greatest rock song of all time.
That's why. That's why. Yeah. I think you are at an advantage with that track as well because, like, here I am giving you the reasons why the song's good 20 years later. But I think the other advantage is like the chorus does sound pretty happy and like infidel, non-cheating, I guess. They're just like, you sound so sweet, lips and an angel. Like it could be used as like just a generic love song for any occasion until you dive into the verses and whatnot.
Yeah, right, right. Well, I heard a very interesting perspective the other day. So our current single is called "Live Without It," and
Mhm.
I never thought of it this way, but uh, they said that "Live Without It" was like the rebuttal or the answer to "Lips of an Angel." It was,
Mm.
and I never even thought about it, but I mean, if you think about it, it really kind of is. It's like with "Lips of an Angel," I guess we never really moved on. We're having a hard
Yeah.
time getting over it. Where "Live Without It's more of like a, you know what, fuck you, I can live without it, I can move on. So that's kind of
Yeah.
an interesting thing. All these years later, kind of to have an answer to it. It's kind of interesting.
It's like the grown-up song. Yeah. It's like yeah, we're all mature. We all moved on now. We learned to live without it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it. Grown up.
Um,
That's a concept I haven't thought about before. Being a grown up.
yeah, that sounds boring as shit. We don't want to do that. Rock stars, baby. Those days had to be insane. Like, were you living the gimmick at that point, just like partying all the time? I mean, the album's called Extreme Behavior. People are expecting you to show up and be fucking insane, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was wild. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Rockstar, I mean, it really did. It felt just like that at times. You know what I mean? It was wild. You know, we embraced it for sure.
The movie Rockstar is unironically one of my favorite movies of all time. It's Mark Wahlberg. I love that movie
I love
so
it.
much.
It's incredible. My wife hates it. She doesn't want to watch it ever.
Yeah,
that thing, but I love that movie.
My wife doesn't get it either. I also like I might have just seen it at the right time in my life because I was like, I don't know, like 12 or 13. I don't know how old I was, but like I've tried to like show people and like, as adults, like this is one of the greatest movies of all time. They're like, what? Rockstar with Marky Mark? I'm like, no. First of all, it's not Marky Mark, it's Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
Put some respect on it.
Some respect on it. Yeah, no, dude. That movie's awesome, man. And I feel like it's pretty realistic, for how things were, especially in the 80s, 80s and early 90s. Bet. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably living like the 2000s version of Motley Crue at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, and it was kind of cool that we got to, we were kind of living that whole thing and then got to go out and tour with Motley Crue later. That was pretty amazing. So, yeah, it was definitely good times.
So was Motley Crue wild at that point, or had they like tamed down their wildness at that point?
Yeah, they had definitely tamed it back. As a matter of fact, when we first got out on the tour, we weren't allowed to escort people back. We weren't allowed to have drinks out. We weren't allowed to do anything for like the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. And we weren't really having that. Yeah, we were kind of just like throwing little fits and making jokes, making fun of everybody, and then before we knew it, the entire crew would be, their crew would be on our bus or buses or whatever we were on back then. They'd be on our bus partying every single night. So
nice.
They thought, even to the point where they would have like guys that would just wake up on our bus the next day and have to go back and find their camp. And so I think they figured out that it was easier to kind of just let us do our thing. And as long as we were cool about it and respectful, we got to open the party up. It was fun. It was cool. I mean, Tommy was still partying a little bit, but not much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's gotta be a cool feeling though when people are leaving the Motley Crue bus to come party with you guys. Like, oh no, this is where it's at.
Yeah, it was good times.
Do you have like any? I mean, because you've obviously toured with a lot of huge bands and have interacted with just a ton of famous people. Like, do you have any like specific moments, like just ones that stick out in your brain or just being super cringy, like ones that you think about still to this day in the shower? You're like, oh God, that was so, I can't believe I said that. Or I can't believe like any like ones that like stick out as far as like just will never leave your brain.
Yes, I do. I have this story. So in the early days, we were out touring with Nickelback and we always loved Nickelback. Like, growing up, it's one of our favorite bands, right? And so we're out on the road. We've kind of become buddies with them. I mean, we'd spent at that point a couple of summers recording in Vancouver. One of the summers was at Chad Kroger's house, right? So we kind of knew the guys. And
friendly basis.
One night we're out and we're sitting outside of a hotel room, and it was us and our crew, and then Chad and a couple of girls. And they were like these country girls sitting in the back of their trucks, right? And they start talking about horses. And so I'm like, my drum tech and buddy at the time, he starts laughing. He's like, "Hey, Cody, man, come here. Chad says there's no such thing as quarter horses." And he's laughing, kind of poking fun at him. And so I think to myself, well, why would he say that? Oh, maybe it's because he's Canadian and they use the metric system. So that's what I said, right? So everybody starts laughing. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I was trying to figure out what it was, right? And so he comes over and he, wraps his arm around my neck, and I think he's joking, right? And then I notice like he starts really squeezing. And so I'm like, kind of shove him. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, what's going on?" And he's like, if you want to make a person from Canada mad, the first thing you do is call him a Canadian. And I'm like, I'm super confused at this point, and we're all drunk as shit, right?
Yeah.
And so he kind of storms off, and then I get mad, and so I start kind of walking after him, and he's got this massive like security guard, and every time I get kind of close to him, he's like, Cody, don't like mind your shit. And I mean, this dude would have squashed me,
Yeah.
And so I get up I follow him onto his bus, and I'm so mad at this point and so upset. I'm yelling at him, he's yelling at me, and then being drunk, once you get so mad, like your emotions really just overtake you. I started crying. I started crying like a little bitch. I couldn't control it, man. I was so embarrassed. And then so the next day he comes in the dressing room, and he's kind of like, wow, the train really came off the tracks last night, huh? And he's got a handful of Viagra, so he's just passing out Viagra as like this peace offering to us the next day. But anyway, that's my most embarrassing story that I have.
So the Viagra was like a peace offering or something? Or is that to get you guys all like back in the mood? Like, what the fuck?
You're right. I guess. But yeah. That's the time I almost got beat up by Chad Kroger and probably his bodyguard, and I cried.
I was not expecting the story to go there, man. Like when you're telling the story, like, oh, things are boiling over. It's about to I'm about to hit him, and I start crying.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'm glad that.
Wow.
Didn't
all
get
right, man. That's that's gonna be hard to beat.
And I think you might be the first person I've ever told that story to.
Well, I'm glad we're gonna get this on the front page of Loudwire tomorrow, man.
It's all good.
Oh, dude. Well, speaking of those days, we are coming up on the 20th anniversary of Extreme Behavior. And I know you guys didn't really get to do anything for the 15th, right? Because of it was 2020. So it was like COVID and pandemic and stuff. So I think you had something planned, and then it got kind of squashed, right?
Yeah. We had a whole tour planned, and that quickly went away. So yeah.
So are you guys thinking about doing anything for 2020 then? Or for the 20th anniversary?
Yeah, we're gonna release a new album. That's what we're going to do.
That's a good way to celebrate it.
The 20th year anniversary. We're going to release something brand new. So we're excited about it.
Yeah. All right.
We can always change our minds, toward the back half of the year if we decide to. But I think, right now our focus is on looking toward the future. So
moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you guys don't talk to Austin anymore, right? Were you guys on terms with him at all anymore? Or is that just completely not there?
We do every now and again. It's pretty rare, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because I know I saw on a post from Rockfeed was talking about you guys, and Austin commented, he's like, I would love to get back together with guys. I would love to do something. So with the 20th anniversary coming up and the 3 Days Grace, I kind of set the trend here, bringing in Adam Ganche, doing the double vocals, the dual vocals things. I didn't know if that was something you guys ever considered, or if that was, on the possibility on the horizon.
No, I don't think so. I mean, not right now, especially, like I said, we're kind of just putting our focus into the new music. And, I think going backwards like that for us is a little more complicated than it would be with most, from a business side. We've gone through all the stuff, it was a big, long ordeal to get everything sorted out. And, we finally did it. And I think, if nothing else from a legal standpoint, it would just be, more than I think we're willing to deal with. And I think we're all happy. We're all operating, as a cohesive business and band and family, I think our focus is kind of, like I said, moving forward, but also just keeping our family together and happy. And that's the most important thing to us.
That makes sense. It's kind of like if you spent all day untangling some Christmas lights from a box, and then you finally got it done, and they just said, fuck it, and wrapped them back up and threw them back in.
Yeah, just
it's like,
went up to it and went.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what that would be. So
like we finally got this all separated. We finally got everything like squared away. Like let's not bring it all back in together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you guys you're on the road right now, aren't you?
We leave tonight actually to go do just a little weekend run. Then we come home for a couple days, and then we're back out for a weekend run. And then I think we have a few weeks off. So
very cool. And then what's the plan for the album? Do you have, I mean, I know it's done, but there's no release date set yet, right?
No, I think we're looking at the first quarter of next year. But we do, like you said, you mentioned earlier, on the 15th, that's Friday. So I don't know when this is actually airing, but the new single, Everything Is a Cult, will be out on Friday. So yeah.
Very cool. Is there going to be a music video for it that you can anticipate?
There is. Yeah. We just finished it last week, and it'll probably be out within a week of the release. So yeah, it's awesome too, man. It's a really cool video. It's probably one of my favorite ones that we've done.
Yeah. Can you give me a little hint of what the vibe is of it? It's a lot of cult stuff, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's kind of dark, and it kind of goes through like cults throughout the years. You know what I mean? So it kind of starts as like, what you would imagine, right? I mean, what you would imagine things that would happen in an older cult, and then like one that's current, and then one that's the future. And so it's an interesting concept. I think you'll just have see it to get it.
Yeah, I believe if you were listening and watching this right now, which I assume you are, then that video is probably out at this point, but the song is definitely out. So make sure to go give that a stream. Buy it if you want to. Pay the 99 cents. I'm sure you can find there's some site out there that sells music, right?
Can you still do that? Can you still buy it?
There's got to be a place to buy it, right? I think there's got to be some aggregator out there charging. But if you can, support the guys for sure. Do you have a last minute plugs before we get out of here?
No, man. I mean, I think we've covered everything. I always like to take a second to, just thank everybody for sticking around. I mean, we have, as we talked about a little bit ago, this band's been through a lot, and, we've managed to stick around for over 20 years now, which is insane. So, without all the support of all our fans, we wouldn't be able to do it. So always a big thank you.
Thank you, guys. That's so nice that everybody out there supporting Hinder. Continue supporting Hinder. Stream the new song, Everything Is a Cult. Be on the lookout for the new album. And above all else, no matter what you do today, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with somebody that doesn't suck. All right? Take it easy now, and bye-bye.